I don't agree with that.
I 1000% agree, Abby.
Matt, okay,
Honey,
here's why I disagree.
Do you know how success... Okay.
No. Let me tell you why I disagree.
You talk and then I'll talk.
You sound like Ruby Frankie. Your kid forgets their lunch, you don't bring their lunch to school?
That one is different.
Why?
Because I think like food is like an essential need. Your homework...
Matt, how many... Okay, I could actually not disagree more.
Okay, I firmly disagree on this.
Well, I'll be bringing Griffin his homework anytime he needs it because...
We're not going to do that.
And here's
why.
We'll get aligned on it. Here's why, Matt.
You have the
How many times have you forgotten things? How many times have you forgotten things?
I want to let you just talk.
No, this is an active conversation.
I forget things, and you know what happens when I forget things? I deal with the consequences of them.
You are able to go get them. He's not able to go get them. He's not able to handle the consequences of his own. He can't drive. So
let's talk about school, okay? So Griffin's a freshman in high school. He's in a math class. He forgot his homework, and now he's gonna let's be dramatic. He's gonna fail the class, and he'll have to retake it or something, right? Now I know that sounds dramatic. I know that sounds like why you're a horrible parent for not bringing your kid their math homework or whatever, but if your kid learns self-responsibility while they are still in the house, they will not have problems. Do you
think that's the only way you can
please finish?
Okay,
can I please finish?
Sorry.
They will not have those problems as an adult. And I was just talking to my mom about this last night. I was kind of debriefing with her on the Dr. Amen conversation. And she was telling me how there is a kid, I'm not going to say who it was, but there was a kid that was in my older brother's class that all growing up, my parents always saw that this kid would just disrespect his parents, get away with everything. They didn't really reprimand him, punish him. They always brought his homework to him when he was in school, all that stuff. Now they have a restraining order on their child because their child did not learn to have self-responsibility.
Couple things to unpack in there. Disrespect is very different than innocently forgetting to bring your homework. Disrespect would be handled differently, and there would be consequences for disrespect.
Okay.
Natural consequence for us, if we forget something, it's like, crap, I got to go grab that. And then you're put out of your way. You have to go. You lose your time. All those things. The freshmen in high school cannot drive themselves to go back home and get their homework.
But they also can't just they can't just skip class. You can't just skip class.
Exactly. Well, they're gonna deal with consequences. But like, my parents, keep in mind, like, if I forgot something, they would get it for me. I learned self-responsibility.
My parents did that for me too, Abby. But I also learned
Did you learn self-responsibility?
I was very stubborn. And I knew that if I pushed enough, I could get my way with my mom. And honestly, like, I would have been, looking back, I would have been okay more with my mom, maybe even being a little bit more strict with me in those situations.
Forgetting something is innocent. You can't help that. That's something out of your control. I forget things, and I'm like, crap. And then I learn, I'm like, okay, next time I can not get in this situation if I do X, Y, and Z. And so I think it's okay if I run my kid their homework and say, next time, let's make sure your backpack is packed the night before so we don't have to do this. If it's something that is like habitual, it's happening very regularly, that's one thing. But if they forget an important assignment or like they forget their cleats for soccer practice after school, I'm going to bring it to my kid. I mean, we can align on it, but I would say that it would be my opinion that we bring it to them because everyone can forget something innocently. Everyone can. Adults do it all the time.
I 100% agree with you. I just think that if you're going to be a pushover as a parent, your child will just...
How is that being a pushover?
Your child will learn to just... They'll just know that anytime they forget something, anytime they mess up, they can rely on mommy and daddy to come and solve their problems. But we need our kids to learn self-responsibility. We need them to develop the self-esteem by tackling hard things in their life and solving them themselves. That way they build up that confidence. I get so confident when I'm able to solve problems in my life. When I see a problem and I'm able to take care of it myself, I feel powerful. I feel empowered. I hate this victim mentality that we have in our culture today where people are like, oh, me, I can't do anything. That does nothing for you. That literally does absolutely nothing for you. And you'll just stay in a crappy place. You'll stay in those negative thoughts and nothing will ever change. But until you take self-responsibility and empower yourself to actually like seek change and do something to change your life circumstances, nothing's going to happen. And so I want our kids to like learn that from a young age. And I think they're going to be happier and more fulfilled because of that.
I want my kids to learn those things too.
Now,
I just don't think that is taught through not helping them out when they are in a situation where they can't help themselves.
Now,
if they're in a situation where they can help themselves, that's their job to do those things. I fully believe that. But like, do you think I'm a person that has take self-responsibility?
Yeah, I do.
My parents would always bring me something if I needed it.
And
I developed trust with my parents through that.
But I will say this, and look, we both have really amazing parents. So I want to preface that. Like, we are so blessed to have the parents that we have.
I love my parents so much. They're literally my best friends.
But something that your parents, something that your parents did that my parents didn't, and again, I have amazing parents. I love them. They did an incredible job. And also, when you're a parent, you're just figuring it out. It's not like I came with an instruction manual, right? I was a hard kid to parent at times, okay? Like, I'm not saying my parents' job was easy at all. But what I love that your parents
You're a
did,
hard kid to parent right now.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Okay, what were you saying?
What I love that your parents did, though, is they stayed out of your business a lot more than mine did. And I noticed that, like, when I went to college, I felt this freedom. Like, it was incredible. I felt like all my decisions that I made were completely my own. And I got to reap the consequences for all of those decisions, positive or negative. And for you, you didn't feel that as much because your parents weren't in your business as much as mine were.
I told my mom literally everything growing up, though.
So maybe that's why we have different opinions on this, is because I had parents that were a little bit more in my business.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like Dr. Amen said, he said that he was stealing his child's self-esteem by solving his child's problems. And to be honest, again, my parents are amazing. I love them. We have an amazing relationship. I think there were times that I felt that way. And so I got to fully have my own self-esteem in college because I knew that everything that I did was because I did it. It wasn't because my mom did it for me. It wasn't because my mom planned. She didn't like plan out how I was going to solve these problems in my life. I just did it by myself.
In high school,
that was incredibly empowering. Sorry, I'll shut up.
I was always fully responsible for knowing my own assignments, getting them done on time, getting them to school. For my own, I had so many extra. I was honestly insanely busy in middle school and high school because I just wanted to be involved in everything. I was in charge of my own schedule, knowing when I had to be at rehearsals, if times had changed. I was in charge of all of that, and I also was in charge of, as soon as I had my license, getting myself there. The day that I got my license, I had to drive myself to 3 different rehearsals, and my parents were out of town with my brother. I was in charge of all that. Yet, I knew that if it came down to something that I couldn't handle myself, that my parents were in my corner and were going to be there to help and support me. Because you're not fully independent until you're outside the house, until you're 18. This is your learning zone. This is your time to make mistakes, and this is your time to try out independence and in a safe place with your parents there. And so keep in mind, I told you're like saying I didn't want my parents to help me. My parents did not force me to tell them anything, but I went to my parents and told them literally everything, like anything that was going on with my friends, going on with boys. Like, my mom knew everything, pretty much everything, and she never asked. I don't remember her asking. We just had this trust and this bond. She felt like a friend, but not in an inappropriate way. Like, it was like, I knew. She's like, that's why she's my best friend now. Like, she knew the boundaries of a parent, but also like, and here's the thing, I'm still trying to unpack as a parent and adult now, like what they did to create that relationship.